Hello everybody, this is Purge with the news. We're bringing you the latest in 7.06 patch news and its effect on the meta. First, let's go over the most important new features in 7.06. The patch brought with it several important changes, like for example, denying a creep now only denies 30% experience from your opponent instead of half. However, it now grants you those 30%, meaning that if you're left uncontested, you can emerge even stronger than before. While this is mostly relevant for safe lane carries, mid laners with strong right click can also become more dangerous because of the new deny change, as well as the extra melee creep that spawns in the mid lane now. Creeps dying to neutrals now gives 70% experience instead of 50%, so offlaners will get more if they're in range during pulls, and pulling as well as jungling has been slightly nerfed as neutral creeps now give 20% less gold and experience. They do give more experience and gold as the game goes on, but for the laning phase it's a significant nerf. If your hero isn't fantastic at jungling, then I really don't recommend starting in the jungle with an Iron Talon. It just isn't going to work well, and your game is going to be pain. Another large change to laning is the shrines, which can now only be used 5 minutes into the game. That means if you're stuck in lane, you don't have that sweet comfort until much later. Start with good items, don't feed too much, or you're going to spend a lot of time walking to base thinking about your bad lane choices. This patch has also taken another step towards abolishing unique attack modifiers, done by removing Blightstone, Desolator, Frost Arrows, and Caustic Finale from the list. Only 5 unique attack modifiers remain, 3 of which are lifesteal items. But that isn't the only thing 7.06 seek to remove, as every single respawn talent was replaced. More on that later. In Suns fan news, there's a bunch of new and remade Aghanim scepters. You can check out Suns fans' list of rankings from worst Aghanims to best Aghanims. The first one is Axe. Axe's scepter used to make his ultimate easier to kill people with and lower the cooldown to miss, but it's been changed to buff his Battle Hunger. Battle Hunger now decreases the damage output of people affected by 30%, which includes all types of damage they deal. It will also apply Battle Hunger to all enemies in a 700 AoE when successfully using your ult. While it doesn't apply Battle Hunger to creeps in that AoE, successfully using Culling Blade on a creep will apply Battle Hunger to all nearby heroes, which is a lot easier in some late game teamfights, but it will cost you the ultimate cooldown. Then there's Bane. Bane used to apply Nightmare to anyone who right-clicked him during Fiend's Grip and increased the duration. Pretty worthless. Now it reduces the cooldown of Brain Sap to 1.5 seconds from 11, and also allows it to pierce magic immunity. Not too bad. Dazzle's new Aghanims no longer increases the armor and gain loss of Weave, but instead applies a 450 AoE Shallow Grave. This one is very situational, as you either purchase it when too many of your allies are dying at the same time, and you don't really know which one of them is going to yell at you the least after not getting engraved, or because you have a Meepo and you can't save them all in the end. Leshrak's Aghanims used to just upgrade the damage number on his ultimate by the equivalent of 2 skill points. Good idea, but generally better items to purchase. The new scepter applies a lightning storm on a random enemy every 1.75 seconds. The lightning storm will prioritize heroes and applies the normal slow on impact. It also counts the extra slow gained by Leshrak's level 25 talent if you pick it. Against a single hero, the new Aghs does quite a bit more damage than the previous. In an AoE, the previous Aghs did more. I think this one's much better though. Magnus' scepter also got changed, and it's kind of complicated. It no longer gives him power in an AoE or splash damage to range heroes with Empower. It now changes his shockwave to go 50% further in distance, but also makes a return for a second hit. The returning shockwave does full damage against heroes, but only half to creeps, meaning you can't one-shot a wave with it. The speed of the initial shockwave has also been increased by 50%, which makes it reach its end at the same time as a non-Aghs shockwave. However, the returning wave gives more time to move out of the way. I'm not sure if this is good yet, but it definitely gives Magnus more ability to do AoE magic nukes, rather than just relying on Empower Cleave. The old Silencer Aghs used to apply his Arcane Curse to all enemy units during Global Silence. It was kind of okay against Blink Initiators, but generally not worth the money unless you're slacks. The new Silencer Aghs gives him some options against heroes with BKB who hard counter pretty much all of his skills, and that's because having an Aghs now allows you to hit magic immune heroes with glaives, and if they're silenced when hit by glaive, they take double glaive damage from it. Odie's Aghs used to make all units hit by his ultimate get Astral Imprisoned. Instead, you now get 2 charges of Astral on a 12-second replenish time. It massively increases your banished cast range from 450 to 750. This means you can better protect multiple allies from many disables, farm creeps more rapidly, or remove opponents from fights. And those were the reworked scepters. This patch also includes 2 new ones for Medusa and Underlord. Medusa's new Ags gives her snake a 1-second stone, basically a stun which is increased by 0.3 seconds per bounce for a max duration of 2.5 seconds on an 11-second cooldown. The stone functions like her ultimate, meaning targets hit by it are immune to magical damage, but take 50% more physical damage. This item probably sounds a little better than it is, but the best usage is against illusion heroes, since stone form instantly kills illusions. If you're having trouble against mana draining illusion heroes, or somebody like Chaos Knight, Ags is probably your purchase. Finally, Underlord received an Ags that spices up his passive. Each time an enemy unit near Underlord dies, he gains the bonus damage for an extra 40 seconds. The better part, however, is that Atrophy Aura now provides half of that damage as an aura to his allies. You can probably use this to instantly kill barracks after you wipe the enemy team in front of their base. With these 2 additional Aghanim scepters, only 15 heroes don't have one yet. But enough about that old wizard staff. I mentioned earlier that all respawn talents were removed from the game. I'm elated. They were replaced with some interesting talents that makes leveling up more rewarding than, oh great, I don't have to stare at a death screen for as long when I mess up and die later. Maybe. For instance, Warlock's level 20 talent now allows Warlock to spawn a Golem on death, opening some very non-viable but fun item builds that make their existing skills better in most cases. Another great one is Bristleback's plus 10% spell lifesteal, so that you idiots will stop by Nocturne Core on him. Witch Doctor's plus 2 cast bounce is also great. It can make 2 heroes even more angry at each other, or for some stupid reason if you want to, you can try to make Techies a carry at level 25 with the plus 250 damage. And there's lots of other cool talents being moved around or added naturally, so let's talk about some of the fun ones. Wraith King's level 25 talent now allows you to send out Wraith Fire Blast when using Reincarnation. What isn't mentioned here is that the stun replaces the slow, meaning a 5-second 75% slow is replaced by a 2-second stun with a 2-second 20% slow. The stun can be limited in ways like disjoining with Blink or Invis, casting Yule's Scepter dodge, or just popping BKB, but it does do damage at least, so worst case farming. Tusk didn't get any talent changes, just a subtle but significant buff. His shards were changed to provide the wall right where you click the spell, which makes shards castable right on top of him. This lets you push yourself up hills, cliffs, and other obstructions if possible, since the shards say you can't exist there anymore, you'll just have to go somewhere else. They also changed his shards to interact more consistently with heroes, which should make it easier for Tusk to help his teammates in the same way. Tusk has already made a huge splash at Epicenter, very often from Team Liquid, who went on to defend their previous Epicenter win and get first place again, this time against Evil Geniuses. Night Stalker's got a fun change, where Hunter in the Night can now be used during nighttime to grant Night Stalker flying movement and vision for a short period of time. When in the air, his vision is slightly reduced and landing on trees will destroy them, but it can be used to run up cliffs to escape or chase. You can also guarantee vision in juke paths over trees to silence or nuke a hero trying to teleport to safety, or you can use it to check for wards on cliffs. It's a great change that makes the hero much stronger as a roaming support. Finally, we've got Wind Ranger, so if you somehow haven't seen her in your pubs recently, be aware that you'll need detection against her after level 20 if she grabs the Invis while Wind Run perk. It's probably okay though, because Wind Ranger still sort of sucks. You're still going to win anyways. There's also a huge buff to Kunkka in that now you can land his boat wherever you want to instead of a set distance in front of him. It makes it a whole lot easier to combo with your ultimate as a result, and you have more reason to fear the hero when you gank him in melee range. And you gotta realize that you could just get chain stunned and killed like an idiot, like I have in the last week. So these are some of the changes in the patch that I felt were more influential. I'm sure there's some things that you feel like I should have included. That's too bad. I didn't do it. This was Purge, bringing you the news, supported by his viewers and patrons. Thanks for watching.